One position change is interesting, Zach, and Illinois suddenly has several of them in fall camp at the same time. Makes me start thinking, why is that? Because it's not just position changes. We also got news today of a transfer portal addition for the Fighting Illini. Jacob Eberhardt, the safety, four-star safety recruit, he is now being moved to wide receiver. Zach, you got a few other guys. Josh Newton going from quarterback to wide receiver, so that one's happening too. Will Holmes is going from linebacker to defensive end. I could have told you that one was going to happen when he committed to Illinois, so I'm not as surprised by that one or anything. But then, in addition to that, Zach, you've also got Josh Lorick from Incarnate Word, 59 catches for 503 yards there last season. Looks like Illinois, according to Pete Nakos, is going to be signing him out of the transfer portal. And you think, okay, two position changes and a portal addition. Well, Zach, they also have 6 wide receivers who currently have the non-contact jerseys on. Hudson Clement, Alex Perry, Nas Rankin, Kenyon Alston, Jacob Harvey, and I mean there are plenty of guys here who have the non-contact jerseys on from the Saturday, August 8th practice. You're moving 2 guys there. You're adding a transfer portal edition. I mean, this is, I'm not going to say it's concerning, but it does seem a little strange. Zach, is this just roster problems, or is this some kind of clever roster management strategy that Bret Bielema has? And I will preface it, I trust Bret Bielema. I'm not, you are not going to find me questioning Bret Bielema very much on this show, but it is a little bit of an interesting situation.
Philip makes sure that we should trust Bert.
Always. Always.
It's interesting. I mean, there's a lot of receivers in that room. I mean, Scott Ritchie just wrote an article for Yahoo talking about the depth of that receiver room. Mm-hmm. Colin Dixon, Hudson Clement, Jay-Sean Platt, Braden Trimble, Alex Perry. So you have a lot of guys in that room, and a couple of those guys that I think you're pretty confident in.
Yeah.
So then you're bringing in a receiver. You're moving 2 guys to receiver. I think there are questions. Now, Eberhardt was probably not going to play this year, at least not much. And the way that Scott Ritchie reports on Yahoo is it does seem like part of the reason why he's going to be a receiver this year is he's kind of on loan because he's too good to keep off the field athletically. Mm-hmm. At least that's in the words of Bret Bielema. Yep. So at least for Eberhardt, it seems more like a reality of he's just too good. We'll probably move him back to safety in a year, but if we can use him at receiver, let's do that. But then again, it begs the question, how is he going to get on the field as a receiver when you have all these receivers, unless if there are openings? So I think that's the thing I would just raise is it does seem like maybe there's an injury issue brewing for Illinois, but at least in the case of Eberhardt, it seems like the move is more predicated on his talent and his ability than just they need warm bodies.
Oh, and this also tells me that there was most likely a conversation when Illinois signed Eberhardt to say, yeah, we'll get you on the field as a freshman. Matthew Bailey coming back, a number of players in the secondary coming back, and Bret Bielema's probably looking at the situation and saying, yeah, it's going to be hard to get him on the field in the secondary because we got a lot of guys coming back. But now we have all these guys that are non-contact in practice with wide receiver and stuff like that. I don't know if, he's necessarily planning that he's going to have to play at wide receiver because these are non-contact at the very beginning of fall camp. This is not like, their first game is next week or something. But this is definitely, to me, Bret Bielema saying, all right, you are so good that we need to get you on the field somehow. We have an opening right now at wide receiver with some opportunities. The secondary is pretty well set at this point. I mean, obviously you could have a few things change here and there, but pretty well set at this point. Let's move you on over to wide receiver, see what you can do, and at the very least, let's just do some things to get the ball in your hand. You run some jet sweeps, run some Oracle or something like that. I mean, figure it out. And in Illinois, Stepp is a really good wide receiver coach for them. So I think all in all, this is out of necessity, but it's also, like you said, just trying to get Eberhardt on the field as best you possibly can. And you know what? If you got an opportunity there for it, give him a shot. Let's see what happens.
Yep, agreed.
So, Will Holmes going from linebacker to defensive end. Like I said, I'm not too shocked by that one. That was something that I was kind of expecting to happen at some point. He, especially once Bobby Hawk came in and or Hauk, I think is how you pronounce it. With him coming in and Holmes having more of that kind of hybrid, stuff that we've seen. I think he was at, Utah State was where he came from. And Holmes is pretty old, too. He's a guy that has seen a lot of football. I think he's up there in his mid-20s at this point. So he's a guy that you can definitely trust to be able to kind of move that position and see where it goes. So very, very good stuff for Illinois here. I don't think this is a whole lot of concern as much as it is just opportunity, and we'll see where it goes from here.
Yep. So. I think that's good analysis there.
Thank you. Let me ask you this really fast about Illinois before we move on. Are you concerned that Katin Houser might not have enough weapons if the wide receivers do not start coming out and practice more? Because I know for me, wide receiver was one of the positions I was looking at. Alex Perry, Hudson Clement, these guys that are kind of non-contact right now, giving them the opportunity to play with Katin Houser. That was one of the things that I was most high on for Katin Houser. Obviously, we'll find out later on what goes on in fall camp, but does this give you any type of nervousness for Katin Houser or anything like that and what he can be this season?
A little. I mean, you hope that by the end of camp, he has at least one go-to guy, like one safety blanket where it's like, I'm just going to trust my guy to go up and get it. And you would think like Hudson Clement would be that guy. And maybe they got that work in the spring, but I would love to see more of that happening in fall camp.
Yeah, I tend to agree.